Do it now, not tomorrow. Because the only thing that's promised in the beginning of your life is the end. Don't wait for tomorrow for things that can be done right now. Not when things feel perfect. Because the longer you wait, the more time you give yourself to convince yourself to not to do it. And fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. And the regret of what if is so much stronger than the regret of your actions.
You're broke, already at ground zero, already struggling month to month, paycheck to paycheck, just trying to keep up with your bills. So let me ask you this. If you already have nothing, what's stopping you from chasing something? What's stopping you from going after your goal? Let me guess, you're stuck in your head. You keep thinking, when should I start? How do I start? What if it fails? But let me remind you, you're already squeezed dry, living on empty. There's nothing to lose, only something to gain. And if there's an amazing time to start building up, that time is now. Dealing with finances will always be a pain. This rings especially true for us who weren't born with a silver spoon in our mouths. We're constantly aiming, constantly trying, forever hoping we hit the jackpot one day, metaphorically or literally. Probably both at the same time if we'll push our luck. And what do we like to do? We like telling ourselves that we're waiting for the right time. Perhaps you just don't feel like working one day, so you choose to slack off. Maybe you'd rather go by feel, relying on sheer vibes to see if an opportunity will stick. In our minds, it's all about timing. Some will even chalk it up to fate or destiny, cheesy as it may sound. You're there, sitting patiently, trying to manifest your success into your hands. Except the universe seems uncooperative. That right time never shows up. You never get that surge of urgency to make the leap. Because the more you wait, the scarier it feels to move. You tell yourself you'll start once you have more money, more time, more energy. You say to yourself that by then, that's when you'll really get your hands dirty, that you will go ham on breaking your back from all the effort you're putting in. Do those things you say ever happen? Chances are you're watching this right now, since they more than likely haven't, because those things, they don't come until you move first. People tend to make a huge deal out of the first step, and really I don't blame anyone for doing so. Things that come first, they usually serve as foundation, the structural support of what you're kickstarting. So it is natural to want everything to go right. Nothing terrifies a struggling person more than failure. And believe me when I say that I've been there in the past. See, when I was a little kid, I hated talking to other people. It'd be easy to chalk me up as antisocial with how little I spoke. It was this cursed blend of fear and skepticism packed into a tiny body, making conversations with me as interesting as watching paint dry. Socialization was a massive struggle, as you'd expect. Of course, that also meant I sucked at verbally explaining and giving speeches. Because really, if I sucked at talking to one person at the time, the suckiness amplifies the more people there are in one room. Now, this is a problem for many reasons. Most notable one was all the way back in 6th grade when we had to have a class-wide debate as a part of the English curriculum. Pretty big stakes there. We're talking a good 20% of our final grade relying on one project. So really there isn't any room to mess up, even if you were good at everything else in the class. I especially knew I couldn't fumble. English was my best subject, so I had to give my all. I practiced, had mock debates with friends, had little cue cards that helped me remember all the important points. In the end, my team managed to tie with the other team, and let's just say I nearly passed out by the end of the class. This is no anime training arc levels of improvement, as you can see. However, I pushed through it anyway, running on the sheer fear of failure. This is far from being the ideal circumstance, because really having fear of failure as motivation can get shaky, but it got me started. The draw during the debate I thought I had flunked motivated me by quite a bit. By 7th grade, I stuttered less. By 8th grade, my voice got louder. And now that you're hearing me, I put more effort in my diction and tone. All this because I had to take the first step during a time I had to go big or go home. If I kept waiting it out, not only would I have failed English that year, I would have never mustered up the confidence to be this vocal about my thoughts today. See, you don't need a perfect plan. You need momentum.
So whatever you're complicating right now, just start. Do one tiny little thing today, because momentum is bigger than motivation every single time.
Life is more high stakes than my little debate dilemma, of course. However, there is a common denominator, that being fear. Do you not get scared of stagnating, of just staying where you are? Do you not get scared of seeing no growth? Now, don't twist my words. I'm not telling you to forever live in fear and anxiety. All I'm saying is that you need a push. Sometimes you yourself need to find and trigger that push yourself in order to have this domino effect leading to getting things done. More often than not, you'll notice that this push manifests as some kind of fear. People are a lot quicker to move when they are panicked or when their position of relative safety gets threatened in one way or another.
It only takes one opportunity to dramatically change the trajectory of your whole entire life. But when it does come, you need to be open to receiving it and willing to just grab it.
If you haven't encountered your specific push just yet, simply remember this. If you were already content with the way your life is while broke, you wouldn't have thought about seeking greener pastures.
Excuses do not age well. Whether it's good or bad, ask yourself this. The way you're living now, if nothing were to change, are you really okay with this being your life forever? Because you can either make progress or you have to make peace with staying the same. You can either outgrow your excuses or outlive your potential.
Making goals means there's still more to achieve. And let me lay it on you bluntly, the road will be bumpy. So stop waiting for the stars to align, because perfection kills more dreams than failure ever will. Start messy. Fail fast, but learn quicker. And if you aren't quick enough, that's all right. Build a steady pace like how I did over the years for my speaking. What's important is that you get started, especially since it's a lot easier to just keep swimming once your feet are already dipped. At the end of the day, doing something, even if it's still ugly for now, is miles ahead of doing nothing. You say you don't want to start because you can't afford to lose. But let me tell you something. Losing is part of the process. And let me tell you another thing. If you were already broke and struggling in the first place, there is quite literally nothing to lose anymore. If you're serious about winning, factor loss into your plan. Let's say you want to get a new job because the current one simply isn't cutting it anymore for your needs. You've now made the first step by checking other job postings, passing out your resume like a newspaper boy back in the good old days, but surprise, you're either not getting many calls back or you're getting rejected. I could go on and on about the job market, but we'll reserve that for later because there is a lot to unpack. But back to the topic. So you're pulling your hair out, stressing over those "we decided to move forward with another candidate" emails. It's unpleasant, yes, but is this normal? Also yes. Whenever you do something, expect things to go wrong. Expect setbacks. This is not me encouraging you to be a pessimist. I'm just saying that whenever we make decisions, factoring multiple possibilities is crucial. That means accepting that sometimes we'll win while other times we lose.
You can always pick yourself back up. You can always meet new people or make more money. But the one thing you can't buy back is time. It's our most valuable asset for a reason, so don't waste it. So stop telling yourself you'll do it when you're ready.
Think of the most expensive rate, the biggest time sink, and the hardest days ahead. And start anyway. This will sound quite nihilistic, but bad things will happen regardless. Some things will fail, just as some empires have fallen in the distant past. If you keep delaying because you don't want to lose, you may as well never start. Life is inherently very give or take with its nature. Someone even once told me that life is very RNG based. And I honestly agree. That's something we need to accept early on. Like with job applications, you'll see plain rejections more times than you'll see offers. While it's true that the job market is oversaturated and full of other issues, take your rejections as opportunities to improve too. Maybe you just needed a more concise resume to strike recruiters' attention better. Maybe there's still some other skills out there that will go hand in hand with your niche, making them very much in demand. So with the good, anticipate and mitigate for the bad. See what you can work on and actually work on them. If you think your cover letters suck, revise them. If you need to learn a new program, study up and watch the hundreds of videos out there that are free to view. With the amount of resources readily available nowadays, getting started on even the barest of basics is made significantly simpler. Planning for failure and loss is not there to scare you. Instead, it aims to prepare you. When you start framing it this way, failures turn into learning experiences for growth. Losses shift your focus to matters you first need to gain more insight in. This mindset is what separates the ones who quit from the ones who make it. Hard work and effort will always and forever be mentioned in talks about seeking success. Your first few steps, they're gonna feel slow, as if you're walking on the moon with dumbbells plastered to your boots. You're gonna put in hours and see little return. Then you doubt yourself, questioning if it's even worth it. But that's the test. Every winner you've ever seen kept going when it didn't make sense to. They kept pushing when no one believed in them.
In today's social media landscape, it's so easy to look at someone's wins and simply focus on the win without the context of the nights that they almost gave up, the times that they ran out of money, the feeling of not wanting to get out of bed, so on and so forth. Success is built in silence, but more importantly, it's built on top of the sacrifices that no one was there to clap for.
How many successful people today would you not have heard of if they just flunked in the middle of nowhere out of frustration? Walt Disney himself literally got fired from his first job because he was described to lack imagination. Had he given up after that, we would never have the iconic mouse, the princesses, and those grand theme parks hailed as the happiest place on earth today. Steven Spielberg got rejected from USC's admissions 3 times. We're talking about the man who directed classics like Jaws, Jurassic Park, E.T., Indiana Jones, just to name a few. If he gave up because of some C-level grade and rejections, do you think we'd have those film and pop culture classics up our repertoire? We wouldn't, because if these people had given up at the first setback, they wouldn't have the drive to pave the way to their current success. And as a result, we would have never got to witness the impact of their hard work. See why I told you earlier to anticipate failure? The people on top have tasted it too. They simply didn't drop dead when it touched their tongue. Because perseverance isn't about being the fastest. It's about refusing to stop. You build the momentum by moving, not waiting. It doesn't matter if your magnum opus takes a hot decade. It doesn't matter if job hunting is taking longer than you've wished. You don't reach success by being an impatient quitter. So don't be one. Take your first step today and keep walking. You're already broke and struggling, so what are you holding on to? You got nothing to lose but everything to gain. Now is not the time to wait for a go signal, nor is it the time to sit idly, waiting for some heavenly intervention. Start now, make mistakes, but learn, adjust, then repeat. Once you've mastered what you need, make use of it every day until you reach the point you need to be at. Because the truth is, the only thing worse than being broke is staying that way when you didn't have to. Could you imagine giving up on a multi-million-dollar grossing film? Could you imagine scrapping a revolutionary business model just because you didn't feel like it? Me neither, and you won't have to, as long as you commit to your goals and get things moving. Tell me in the comments, what keeps you going right now? I'd love to hear your stories, and I'm certain you could inspire someone else into action with yours. Once again, it's Current Champ reminding you, never let yourself be the antagonist of your own success. Peace.
And I'ma just do me. A new thing hold me down on 2 feet. That's 10 toes, bust 4, 5, and 6 foes. Need 2.